All right, let's talk about building wealth. But what if we could do it without all the drama, the stress, and the constant news checking? Today, we're diving into a really cool idea from the book, The Income Factory. And it flips a lot of what we're told about investing completely on its head. So let's get into it.
Does this sound familiar? You know, this feeling that you have to pick the next Amazon or Google, that you're placing these huge bets and then you're just glued to your screen watching every little tick up and down? As the book puts it, whew, that's a lot to worry about. It's totally exhausting, and honestly, it can make investing feel more like a trip to the casino than a solid financial plan.
And that's really the core of the problem we're talking about today. The book argues that this whole approach, this obsession with chasing the market's daily mood swings, is fundamentally broken. It just creates a ton of anxiety and, believe it or not, often leads to us making some pretty bad decisions.
I mean, think about it. The traditional way of doing things has you fixated on these paper profits that can, just disappear in a day. You're constantly bombarded by news telling you to buy this, sell that, which creates this insane pressure to time the market perfectly, which, let's be real, nobody can do consistently. And what happens when the market takes a dive? All that stress leads to the biggest mistake of all, panicking and selling at the absolute worst possible moment.
Okay, so if that's the problem, what's the solution? Well, the book lays out a totally different way to think about all of this. It's called the Income Factory.
And here's the big mental shift. I want you to stop thinking of yourself as some kind of stock market speculator. Instead, from now on, you are a business owner. You own a factory. And your job isn't to guess which way the wind is blowing tomorrow. Your job is to build a solid, productive business that generates cash for you day in and day out.
So what is this factory? It's a portfolio you build for one main reason: to churn out a high and steady stream of cash. In this way of thinking, your investments, your assets, they're the machines on your factory floor. And the cash they pay out, that's your product. And here's the best part. You take the cash your factory produces and you use it to buy more machines. This makes your factory bigger and more productive, year after year. You're literally creating your own growth.
Now, I know what you're probably thinking. This sounds nice in theory, but does the math actually work? Well, the book's argument is really simple. At the end of the day, total return is total return. It doesn't matter how you get it. This isn't some kind of magic trick, it's just math.
Let's just look at this side by side. The traditional strategy over on the left, it might give you a small cash dividend, let's say 2%, and then you're counting on, hoping for, another 8% in price growth to hit your 10% goal. The Income Factory strategy on the right just flips that. The goal is to get that whole 10% return up front as cash. You don't need the market to go up at all because you're going to manufacture the growth yourself by reinvesting that cash. And you can see right here the power of just making sure that money goes back to work. The numbers don't lie. Whether your 10% return comes from growth or from cash or some mix of the two, if you reinvest it, the final number is identical. The math is the math. The real difference is how you get there. One path is based on hope and stress. The other is based on tangible, predictable cash.
So what's the secret sauce? What's the engine that's powering this whole factory? It's that thing Einstein supposedly called the eighth wonder of the world: compounding. By taking that river of cash and pouring it right back into buying more income-producing machines, you create this incredible self-reinforcing loop. More machines make more cash, which lets you buy even more machines. It's beautiful.
And just how powerful can this be? Well, get this. According to the book's calculations, a single $10,000 investment that consistently kicks off a 10% return, if that return is fully reinvested, could grow by 45 times over 40 years. We're talking about turning 10 grand into nearly $500,000. That is the insane potential of just keeping your factory running and expanding.
But this whole strategy is about more than just the numbers. The book makes a huge point that maybe the biggest benefit is actually psychological. It's about finally being able to invest without all that drama and panic we talked about.
This quote from the book really just nails it. When you shift your focus from the wild, unpredictable swings of the market to this tangible, predictable river of cash that's flowing into your account every month or every quarter, suddenly the day-to-day market chaos just doesn't have the same power over you.
So how do you actually break that cycle of fear? It's really a four-step mental shift. First, you just change your focus. You stop watching the price and you start watching your factory's production, that cash flow. Then something amazing happens. When the market drops, you don't see a crisis, you see a sale. Your cash can suddenly buy more machines for the same amount of money. And that feeling, that gives you a sense of control, which is the complete opposite of panic. And that's what helps you avoid that number one killer mistake, dumping all your assets right when they're at their cheapest.
Okay, so this all sounds great, but what are you actually supposed to buy? What are these machines that are going to generate this big stream of cash for your factory?
Well, this strategy tends to use asset classes that are specifically built for high cash flow. Now, these probably aren't your typical household name stocks. We're talking about things like senior loans, real estate funds that collect rent, or infrastructure funds that own stuff like toll roads or pipelines. Now, some of these can get a little complex, but the main idea connecting all of them is simple. Their primary job is to be a powerful cash-generating machine for your factory.
And of course, the idea isn't to just buy one type of machine. You want to build a well-diversified factory floor. So a model portfolio might have a big chunk in credit-based assets, another chunk in real assets like utilities and property, and then another piece in other kinds of income strategies. Just like any smart business owner, you want to diversify your machinery so your factory can stay resilient no matter what the economy is doing.
So really, this entire explainer, this whole idea, it all comes down to one simple but really powerful question. When you look at your portfolio, what are you actually measuring? Are you obsessed with its market price, a number that's constantly changing and that you have absolutely no control over? Or are you focused on its power to produce income, a factory that you and only you can build, grow, and expand for the rest of your life?